Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Clone Drone in the Danger Zone. In this game, with an arguably long title in need of a short one, though CDITDZ doesn't exactly roll off the tongue either, you play as a human mind trapped in a robot body, and are forced to fight waves upon waves of opposing bots for their entertainment, plus their research and development into making better killing machines. There's a simple story behind it through the campaign, but we're not gonna talk about that today. Instead, we're gonna be going over the 4-ish weapons we can use in Clone Drone, their upgrades, what they're good for, what they're not, and some extra knowledge and facts sprinkled in. So, without further ado, let's get down to business. The sword. As the first weapon you get to play with and start with the exception of special challenges, it's by design both simple and complex. We'll get to that in a bit. You can swing your sword either horizontally or vertically. It has relatively short range, but it swings pretty damn fast. Now, we're gonna have to go into some swordplay tech here. Hitting an enemy who is also wielding a sword will result in a block, which basically stuns you for around 1 second. Likewise, bladed bots hitting your sword will also result in you being penalized. Alright, swordplay lesson over, now onto the upgrades. Block projectiles allow you to go full Jedi and deflect all arrows coming your way at a 90-degree arc. Upgrading it allows you to block at a larger 180-degree arc and then basically block anything you're looking at. Now, I know that's not quite a precise description, but as long as an arrow is not literally trying to shove itself up your ass, you should be fine. The bow. Being your only practical ranged option in the game and the only main weapon to use energy, it'll certainly take some getting used to. You're also able to change the orientation of the arrow to better suit the shot you're trying to make. Aside from sword bots and shielded spear bots, your arrows can basically pierce everything else. An arrow costs around half an energy bar to fire, meaning with a fully upgraded bar, you have 8 arrows at the ready, and they could be a lot more lethal with arrow width, which widens the tip of the arrows, making them much more likely to amputate or straight up decapitate bots. The more you upgrade, the wider it gets. Aim time, which requires you to get both arrow width 1 and energy capacity 1, allows you to slow down time to aim more easily. Although it does come at a cost of slowly draining your energy, a single well-placed shot is usually better than a flurry of missed ones. The hammer. You know what time it is.
Hammer time!
That's right. Unlike the bow and blade, the hammer is a simple weapon. Besides the ability to hurl this cinder block on a stick vertically and horizontally, there's no real fancy interactions here. Just bonk the robots until they stop moving. Simple enough, yeah? Although bigger isn't always better, for the hammer it definitely is. Hammer size allows you to upscale it, giving it much more oomph to its hits and, arguably more importantly, increased range, for you to pulverize those pesky bots into tiny bits at a safe distance. The spear. A more tactical melee weapon, the spear has incredible range for you to poke the enemies before they get too close. Unlike the sword and hammer, you can only thrust the spear forwards and nothing else, which, I mean, makes sense, I suppose. How else are you gonna attack with a spear? Pair that simple stick with a shield and you've got yourself a pretty decent combo. The shield is basically a better version of the sword, defensively speaking. It can block sword strikes and arrows, plus it can actually defend against spear pokes and let you survive getting walled by a hammer. The only downside is, as you block attacks with it, it slowly breaks, basically having a durability bar. Shield Bash requires both shield, big surprise there, and kick to unlock. It replaces the kick, and in exchange for lower knockback, plus now needing to use energy, it has a much more generous hitbox, making it easier to knock enemies down at a closer range. Plus, you are bashing with a shield, which definitely sounds more sensible than attempting to kick those murder bots with laser swords. Now, up until this point, the keen ones amongst you might have noticed that I have neglected to mention a certain scorching upgrade, that being fire, which I will go over right now. The sword, arrows from the bow, hammer, and spear can all be set ablaze. Getting the fire upgrade makes it so that each time you hit an enemy, you light them on fire, making it more likely to kill them even if the initial hit doesn't manage to. The bow and blade specifically can be further upgraded to fire too. basically meaning there'll be more fire. Lastly, there's also Flame Breath, which can be unlocked after getting Energy Capacity 3. It allows you to breathe fire in a cone in front of you with some decent range, and you are able to light multiple pots alight this way. Just beware of its energy drain, it's really costly. While not technically a weapon itself, the jetpack does synergize pretty well with a good chunk of your arsenal, specifically with your sword and spear. Start by jetpacking forward first, afterwards attack with said weapon. Now you're in what I like to call the charge state. Basically, in this state, you can slice and pierce through as many robots as you want while zooming around. You're able to maintain this state as long as you have the energy to keep jetpacking, and it's pretty fucking fun. You can also do it with kick and it'll just be non-lethal. But continuously kicking bots down and into each other with the power kick upgrade, it's also a great experience. Oh, and just in case if you're wondering, no, the bow and hammer have no such interactions, sadly. Heyo, glad you made it to the end, and Happy New Year everybody! It's been quite a ride, hasn't it? I've basically been making videos for more than a year now, and I have no plans of stopping anytime soon. For those of you who have been here since the early vids, I really can't thank you enough, and hopefully you've seen the improved quality of my vids over the year. Thanks to all of you for sticking around, and I'll be glad to have you along for the future, whether you're a returning viewer or new. That being said, thanks so much for watching. A like and sub would be appreciated, and have a wonderful rest of your day.